Coming up this month, The Magnificent Seven ride again, Tim Burton battles monsters in Blackpool, Tom Hanks lands a plane on a river, Mel Gibson starts World War II, and Danny Boyle goes trainspotting. Hello and welcome to my monthly movie wrap, where we discuss the latest disc and cinema releases. Kicking things off, we have The Magnificent Seven. Why anyone felt the need to remake this film is anybody's guess, but it stars Denzel Washington, Chris Pratt and Ethan Hawke, and was directed by Anton Fuqua, who also made Training Day. The film itself is a fairly pedestrian western with some decent action sequences, but the Ultra HD Blu-ray is quite impressive. The film was shot on 35mm, but was only finished using a 2K DI. However, thanks to HDR and also the wider colour gamut, the picture is very impressive, with plenty of detail in the 2.4:1 aspect ratio screen. The audio is Dolby Atmos, and this is also quite impressive, with a very immersive soundtrack that replaces you in the middle of the action. There's also some interesting extras, including the Vengeance mode, where you get to see different members of the cast and also the crew discuss how they shot specific scenes. There's also some deleted scenes and some featurettes. Next up, we have Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, which is something of a return to form for director Tim Burton. There are great characters, plenty of weirdness, and quite a few scares. Plus, how many Hollywood films can you think of where the third act takes place in Blackpool? The Ultra HD Blu-ray is excellent. The film itself was shot at a resolution of 2.8K and finished using a 4K DI. As such, there is plenty of detail in the impressive effects. The film was presented in a 1.85:1 aspect ratio, and the HDR and the wider colour gamut helped to deliver Tim Burton's artistic intention. The Dolby Atmos soundtrack is just as good, with impressive immersive effects and plenty of directionality. There's also some great extras as well that go into the backstory of the characters, explaining about the peculiars and how Tim Burton shot the film. Our final disc is Sully, the new film from director Clint Eastwood about the miracle on the Hudson. Tom Hanks plays pilot Chesley Sully Sullenberger, who was forced to land his plane on the Hudson River after losing both of his engines. The film tells the story of these 208 desperate seconds in an interesting and exciting way. Aside from its treatment of the NTSB, which does deviate from the facts, this is a very good film, and the Ultra HD Blu-ray is an absolute stunner. The film was shot at a resolution of 6.5K and finished using a 4K DI, and the film is absolutely bursting with detail. Once you add in the HDR and the wide colour gamut, this is one of the best looking discs that we've ever seen. The Dolby Atmos soundtrack is equally as impressive, really placing you in that plane as it lands on the water. Overall, this is a reference disc in terms of both picture and sound. In terms of the extras, we get stuff that covers the actual landing itself, plus how Eastwood recreated it. And overall, this is definitely my disc of the month. There are a couple of interesting films opening this month. First off, we have Hawksaw Ridge, which sees Mel Gibson return to the director's chair for the first time since Apocalypto over 10 years ago. The film tells the true story of Desmond Doss, who was a conscientious objector during World War II. He refused to fire a gun, but served as a medic during the Battle of Okinawa, and in doing so was awarded the Medal of Honor for bravery despite never actually firing a weapon. Given the subject matter, and the fact it's directed by Mel Gibson, the film is understandably brutal. However, it's also extremely uplifting, and is something of a return to form for Gibson, especially after his more recent troubles. The film itself opens on 27th of January. And finally, we have T2, not Terminator 2, but Trainspotting 2. Yes, 20 years after bursting onto our cinema screens, Danny Boyle returns to Edinburgh to catch up on Renton, Sick Boy, Begbie and Spud. With the same creative team both behind and in front of the camera, this promises to be one of the cinematic highlights of the year. But can Boyle and his collaborators catch lightning in a bottle for a second time? The world is a very different place. How will Renton and the gang deal with social media and designer drugs? We'll find out on the 27th of January. Well, that's it for this roundup. Keep buying discs, keep going to the cinema, and don't forget to leave any feedback in the thread. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next month.